Thank you so much for joining us online today. We so appreciate you checking out this message. We hope you enjoy it and are inspired to live more and more like Jesus Christ by His grace. If you would like to support the ministries of Rancho, you can do so at rancho.tv/giving. Set up a giving profile and a reoccurring gift. We'd sure appreciate that. Enjoy.
Hey, let's get Elaine to come back on. Elaine Romero, we have missed you. You abandoned us last week, but you're back. Elaine, of course, as we know, is the executive director of Safe Harbor Counseling. She's helped so many people here in our church and our school. A therapist, speaker, and also a governing pastor here at Rancho. So welcome back. I hope you did something fun last Sunday.
I sure did,
Wasn't the same without you.
Yeah, well, I missed you too.
Well, good. We're going through a series about relationships. So it's always good to have Elaine helping us out with that. And we've gone through some of these conversations to have to strengthen every relationship. We've talked about how are you doing really, kind of getting under the surface. How can I make this right? More than just an apology, really get to restoration.
Right.
How can I help you? Come alongside to help. And today we're going to talk about what are your dreams, kind of unlocking the dreams in each other.
Yeah, that's so important. I mean, if you think about it, God really could have designed us to live this life alone, right? But He could have chosen to just be the one to meet all of our needs, but He didn't. Instead, God kind of put us in these relational ecosystems.
I love how you put that. So you know an ecosystem, right? There's animals and flora, fauna, all working together in this good environment. That's what we are to each other, right? To help unlock the best in each other.
Right, it's called communities, friendships, families. And these are those places where we look out for each other. The old take care of the young, and then the young rise up to take care of the old. We show up for our neighbors. We walk alongside each other in life. And from the very beginning, God's design was never isolation. It was actually what we call interdependence, where we lean on one another.
Interdependence is very cool, because a lot of times we might think, well, life is maybe about my relationship with God, which is true, but God says it's also about this interdependence with each other as well. Or maybe sometimes we value independence. I'm on my own person.
Right.
That's not how we're designed.
Right, so we really want to make sure that some of our relationships become deeper, that they're more than just enjoying each other or hanging out, right? We want to have places that really form a formation. I know that's kind of weird to say, but meaning we want our relationships to shape us. Attachment science actually shows that secure relationships don't just make us feel better, they actually help us become better. That's those dreams you're talking about. Because when someone feels safe with you, or they feel seen by you, or that you believe in them, they don't just feel better, they begin to really grow and flourish. So deeper connections aren't just about being closer. It's as fellow Christians, as those of us here in this church community, we're partnering together. We're becoming who God really calls us to be.
I love that, because a lot of what we've talked about so far is walking with each other in life as it is. And today we're talking about walking with each other towards what life can become. Dreaming together, like you said, formation together, growing together, and we need each other to do that. So how can this happen with friends?
Right.
I mean, good, close friends. Not everybody can unlock our dreams, and we can't unlock our dreams of everybody, but there are those few friends where some powerful things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have friends that, not all will be at that deepest level. You're gonna have casual friends, you're gonna have acquaintances, and those matter too. But we really are designed to invest in just those few close friendships, people we intentionally walk beside and they intentionally walk beside us. Christ modeled that, right, with His disciples. So there's something uniquely healing about having a close friendship, because that becomes like your chosen family, right? And it's marked by mutually investing in each other, safety, encouragement, and really celebrating each other's wins in life and celebrating each other's journeys. And we don't really need many people for this. It's really kind of those select few.
And we'll see today that Jesus really had three good friends. We might think about the 12 disciples, but He really had three good friends. One best friend in particular that we'll talk about, where they unlocked each other's dreams. And we can also do this with our kids as well. For those of us who have kids, and not everybody chooses to, but if you have kids, It's up to us really to partner with our kids to unlock their dreams, and that's not easy.
Right, because when they're little, when they're young, we're taking more of a manager role, right, with their dreams and partnering with them. We are teaching them, guiding them, correcting them. We are really called to train them up in the way of the Lord. But as they grow, that begins to shift. I'm looking at you because we all have we both have adult children. We slowly move from being their managers more to like their consultants, right? Where they're anchor. So we still influence them. We still love them. We still speak truth into their lives and support them. But we also begin to start to get out of the way, knowing that and trusting that God is the one writing the story of their life. And that's bigger than our own fears. And we got a lot of them, right?
There's a lot of them. It doesn't stop.
So part of loving our kids is helping them discover, like, what is God, or who has God made them to be? Not just who I wish that they become. So this is especially hard with young adults because we got to loosen that grip. And we have to trust God with their path, with their choices, and even with their relationship with Him.
For sure. I mean, we all have our dreams for our kids, and then when they start to go a little bit different direction, it's a pull, and so we've got to get on board with their dreams. That's not always easy.
Right.
And be their consultant and unlock their best as they define, not how we define. Same thing with marriage. Not everybody chooses to be married, which is equally good and wonderful. But for those of us who are married, or perhaps who will be married, that partnership together to unlock each other's dreams is also very profound.
Yes, so this is a biggie. This partnership is the biggie, right? If you choose to be married. So research from emotionally focused therapy shows that in marriage, behind like every argument, behind those times where you shut down or you're disconnected, there's this one vulnerable question. And that question is, are you there for me? Right? Because in this partnership, we're designed to be each other's primary attachment figure. So designed to be the person that has your back, the one that, you want to feel like your partner chooses you. You want to feel like this kind of relationship feels like home. So marriage goes beyond being a partnership. It's a bond, it's a covenant, and the scripture calls it one flesh. Now, this doesn't mean we have to lose ourselves, right? We can still be a me, but we're trying to build that safe we. And here's what's interesting. When couples feel securely attached, when marriages are securely attached, they don't just survive problems. They become that team. They take risks. They grow. And research actually shows that when we're in a secure marriage, we dream bigger dreams and we take bigger risks together.
That's a powerful thing because when we're partnering together, side by side, as we talked about last week, helping each other in the context of marriage, some really great things get unlocked. We can become our best because we have that support.
Right.
And Jesus, he modeled this as well with his friend Peter. And we'll talk about this in more detail, but how did he help unlock this dream in Peter?
Yeah, I mean, obviously we know Jesus was profoundly relational. He could have just gave a bunch of wonderful sermons and taught us, right? But he walked closely with people. He ate with them. He traveled with them. So when Jesus says to Peter, "Follow me, I will make you fishers of men," he's doing something powerful. He's believing in Peter. He's taking a chance with him. He is naming Peter's potential before Peter even realizes it himself. And because Peter feels so seen by Christ, that is where he can really begin to believe. So much that Peter's willing to drop his fishing nets to follow Jesus. Now, that was a big deal at that time because his fishing nets were his livelihood, his security, right? They were his identity. It's not easy to drop that, right? So this invites us to ask, what are the nets in our own lives? What might Jesus be inviting us to loosen our grip on so that we can follow and partner with him and dream bigger dreams in God's name?
I love that because Dreaming bigger dreams is, of course, empowered by God. It's empowered by the solid, secure relationships in our life. But to go forward means that there might be some things that we have to leave behind. That's not always easy, so we need help from people like you and pastoral counseling therapists and good friends to walk alongside. So thank you, Elaine. We appreciate it very much. Let's thank her for her ministry here and teaching us in a research-based way. It means a lot. So let's talk about Peter for a bit here. Peter is this very unique, wonderful character in the scripture. And we see a unique relationship between he and Jesus that revolves a lot around unburying the dreams that Peter had in his own life. How many of you have seen the series The Chosen? Just raise your hand real quick if you've seen the series The Chosen. Okay, it's on Amazon right now. So take it down. It is tremendous. It's an amazing depiction of Jesus and the disciples. And so if you've seen that, some of what we're talking about here will conjure up some images that you might have seen from that show. Best depiction I think I've seen of Jesus and the disciples. But here's the introductory sentence as Jesus introduces himself to Peter. Matthew chapter 4, verse 18. One day as Jesus was walking along the shore of the Sea of Galilee, he saw two brothers, Simon, also called Peter, and Andrew, throwing a net into the water, for they fished for a living. That is the most boring, vanilla introduction to a human being ever. It's just, here's some facts about Peter. It's a very average, boring introduction because Peter could have considered himself and other people could have considered Peter kind of boring and average. He was an average Jewish man. Average Jewish man. Now, an average Jewish man would just be living his life, got a family, got a career, just living his life, but it would be under the oppression of the Roman Empire. We certainly know our history. Roman Empire barges into the nation of Israel, just, government after government, oppressor after oppressor comes in and controls this province called Palestine, the province of Palestine under the Roman authority. So the Roman oppression would have been ever present in his life. Threat of violence, soldiers roaming the streets, overtaxation, and he was just kind of stuck under Roman oppression. A person not of tremendous means, so he wasn't rich. Rome made it very difficult to get rich as a Jewish person. The only way you really could get rich under Roman oppression was corruption. You would have to make a deal with Rome, make a deal with the devil, and kind of swindle people out of their money, your own Jewish countrymen. He didn't do that, of course. So he's of common means, not poor, not the poorest of the poor. It was very common to be a peasant, a Jewish peasant, and you were poor. But he owned his own boat. He owned his own nets. So he ran a small business. We also knew he married into a little bit of wealth. We don't exactly know how much. But his wife's family had some money. We see later in the gospel that the upper room, where the Last Supper took place, was in Peter's mother-in-law's home, at least a 2-story home in the capital city of Jerusalem. So he did okay, didn't struggle day to day, was not poor, certainly was not a man of wealth. He was average. He was an average family man. We know he had a wife. His kids aren't mentioned, but we could assume he probably had children. There could have been some biological realities that prevented that, but he may have had children. We just don't know. Church tradition says he has children. He's from an average rural community. He was in the area of Galilee. For those of you who have maybe been to Israel or know about Israel geography, you know that the Sea of Galilee is north of Israel. And at the time, 2,000 years ago, very agrarian. So there was farming and there were, flocks and there was some light carpentry and there was fishing in the Sea of Galilee. So each little town had its own industry, just simple industry. Jesus was raised in the area of Galilee in a little town called Nazareth, and that industry likely was woodworking from, cedars from Lebanon would go to Nazareth and they'd do woodworking. That's likely the scenario of Jesus in his town. Peter's little town was along the shore of the Sea of Galilee and they fished. So just very simple rural communities. Peter was an average fisherman, a respected position. There's a lot of fishermen, so it's not like he had this extraordinary, career that took some notice, but a respected profession, contributing to society, small business owner. He had average strengths. He was a fisherman, called the Rock. Now that's a play on his name, Peter. The Greek version of his name, Petra, is rock. And so there's kind of this play on words. Here's this tough, rugged fisherman, fitting the stereotype. Big dude, strong dude, thick hands, smelled of fish like all you fishermen do, right? So he just kind of fit that profile. He came with certain strengths, certain confidence. He also had weaknesses, average weaknesses. What gave him strength could be a little stubbornness, could be a little self-determined will to take a risk of being your own man and working your own business and working with your own hands. He tended to be a little bit impulsive. We see that in the Gospels. He tended to speak before he thinks. Just the flip side of our strengths sometimes come with some weaknesses. That's just very average. And so if you maybe grew up in an evangelical church, you might have heard a lot of sermons about the failures of Peter. Sometimes he gets a bad rap. But I think it's more of a strength of his to be assertive, to be bold, to be a leader. Something in him wanted to be a leader. Something in him wanted to be out front. There's a dream in Peter that got him out front. And yes, he made some mistakes along the way. But all those were just learning opportunities for him to grow and to have this dream that was buried within Peter come alive when the time is right by the work of Jesus in his life. So how do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself to be an average person? Maybe average strengths, average weaknesses, average job. You're just one of many. Average community, average family. And so perhaps what all of that does to us is to say, well, I don't have big dreams. Maybe like I did when I was 4 or 5 years old, or even as an elementary school student or middle school student. I'm thinking about what I want to be and what I want to do. I'm thinking all that I could do. What if? What if I was a musician? What if I was an actor, right? What if I was rich? What if I lived here? There's all these dreams, right? About what if I was president of the United States? All these dreams kind of are in the hearts when we are young, but then we just start living life and having some responsibilities, and maybe some of those dreams kind of fade. We're going to call that feeling a hollow discontent. A hollow discontent. There's leadership skills in Peter. We see that all throughout the Gospels. There's leadership skills in Peter. We see when Jesus starts to kind of unbury his dreams, he comes alive and he is bold and he's up front. And so we also see that he's experiencing this disconnect, this frustration, maybe a little anger, maybe a little sharpness, a sharp tone, maybe some impatience. There's something that churns within us when we feel the difference between the way things are with our very average life and the way things we hoped would become. The difference between the way things are and the way things we wish the way they would have become, that tension is what I'm calling a hollow discontent. Things should be different. My life should be better. I used to dream about doing stuff. I'm kind of buried on that. I used to have a spark of kind of hope and passion, and that's been kind of buried. And so the feeling that generates is a feeling of hollow discontent. So do you feel that hollow discontent? The life I'm living is not the life I dreamed about necessarily. The career, maybe the family life I have, I dreamed of this kind of family. It's not quite matching those dreams. That tension is that hollow discontent. I thought I'd make maybe more difference in this world. I thought I would make some change in this world, and I just don't see that happening. That's hollow discontent. Hollow discontent is the feeling of buried dreams. It's the feeling of buried dreams. And those dreams get buried by a lot of forces. Buried by day-to-day busyness, right? Perfectly understandable, right? We had dreams, we want to accomplish something big, maybe something small. We just want to do things, do new things, experience new things. That kind of gets buried or put in the back burner because of busyness. There's just stuff to do all day, every day. I can never get the margin in my life to do something new, to try something new, develop a new skill. These dreams get buried by life circumstances. Stuff just happens around us, and it could be the circumstances of family or jobs or finances or health. There's just stuff that kind of gets in the way. Dreams can be buried by responsibilities. I've got people who count on me to make a living, to pay some bills, right? I got a boss who counts on me, a family who counts on me, and I just don't have what it takes to pursue a dream anymore. Maybe buried by self-doubt. And while you do have some dreams that are buried deep, you also have doubts that are buried deep. I'm not sure I could do that. I'm not sure I'm smart enough. I'm not sure I'm skilled enough. What if I fail? Maybe you tried something and failed, and self-doubt just keeps popping up. Maybe you're buried by procrastination. I've got a bunch of friends who have dreamed about writing books, right? And it's always tomorrow. It's always later. Today is never the day to sit down in front of a blank screen and start writing a book from nothing, right? It's so easy to take our dreams to tomorrow and rarely work on them today. It's procrastination, maybe buried by lack of resources. You've always wanted to start a business, but where am I going to get the money to start a business? Do I hawk my house? Do I borrow from family? That's awkward. How do I start a business? How do I achieve dreams if I don't have the resources of money or time or whatever? There's a lot of things that bury our dreams. That was true of Peter. Probably all of this was true of Peter. Average man. But he had dreams to lead people and so many reasons not to. So in Matthew 4, verse 19, Jesus comes to Peter's side. Jesus calls out to them, "Come, follow me, and I will show you how to fish for people." Jesus knew what was in Peter's heart. I'm sure he was very happy fishing. Great boat, great nets, good money at times when the haul is good, right? Making a living, respected job, no problem. That's all good. There's something in Peter that says, you know what? I also want to lead. I also want to impact people's lives. I don't just want to fish. I want to impact people. And Jesus says, listen, if you follow me, if you walk this journey of relationship together, I'm going to unbury this dream of yours. And we're going to see Petra, the rock. We're going to see this rock draw people to him. And he's going to make a big difference in this world. Peter, will you drop your net and follow me? So a dream is the imagination of something that is not yet. A dream is the imagination of something that is not yet. Peter was not a leader of men. He was a catcher of fish, but he always had this dream. One day I will draw men, people, I will lead. And dreams are born of hope that things could be better. Born of hope that things could be better. You have to have hope in order to actually execute on a dream, in order to do something. Peter would not have left his nets to follow Jesus if Peter didn't have some hope that he could actually do it. He just needed somebody to believe in him. He just needed somebody to come alongside of him and say, I believe in you, and if we walk this together, you will have this dream realized. Dropped his net and followed Jesus. In order for us to have dreams that become passions that then result in action and decisions in our lives, we need to have hope that this world can be better, that I could be better, that my family could be better, that my community could be better, that the world can become more just and right. We've got to have that hope. And some of us might have to admit that we've lost that hope for all the reasons we mentioned earlier, for all the reasons that Peter perhaps lost his hope. You can regain that hope, even begin that journey today. So what are your dreams? What are your dreams? And you might think, well, I haven't had a real dream since I was 4 years old in preschool, dreaming of being the president of the United States. Your hopes might have been dashed over time, but resurface those dreams. What do you want to do with your life? And it could be simple. Like I want a new hobby. I want to learn a new sport. I want to gain a new skill. I want to pick up an instrument. I want to read more, whatever it is. Just pick some goals in your life. These are dreams that are simple, but they really give, life to your soul. You're doing something new. You're stretching yourself. You're getting this brain, which can tend to get literally hard over the decades, and you're rewiring it to get active again, to get smushy again, and start making new synapses and learning new things. It could be something simple as that. Or it could be, hey, this world is broken and unjust, and I'm going to step out and I'm going to do something about it. Whatever that might be. Get that passion, get that spirit in you that is the Spirit of God, made in the image of God, empowered by God, with Christ coming alongside you by His Spirit, but then we come alongside each other and unbury those dreams. Jesus helped unlock Peter's dreams. Jesus helped unlock Peter's dreams. Jesus dreamed with Peter. Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, just pull all the passages where Jesus and Peter are talking. Jesus is dreaming with Peter. Jesus listened to Peter. That is so critically important. We can't walk alongside somebody to fulfill their dreams if we're not listening to their dreams and the depth of those. Jesus taught Peter. Peter needed some things. He needed to know some things. He needed some skill sets, walked alongside. Jesus encouraged Peter. Peter was down so much because of his own failures. He wasn't quite getting it right. He was down and dejected, and Jesus gave him encouragement. Jesus restored Peter. Peter failed miserably and publicly, and billions of people read about it till the end of time. He denied Jesus 3 times when Jesus needed him most, and Jesus came alongside and said, Peter, your dream isn't dead. You picked up your boat again. You picked up your net again. You thought you were done leading people because you disqualified yourself. And Jesus says, no, I'm restoring that vision in you. I'm restoring that dream in you. We're restoring this relationship. You are forgiven. Now get after it again. And Jesus prepared Peter for sacrifice. We don't have time to get into the details of this, but Peter's dreams were going to cost him dearly. He was going to be rejected. He was also going to be arrested by the Roman Empire. And church tradition says he was also crucified. His dreams would challenge the powers of the world, and he would free so many millions, ultimately billions of people to enjoy a relationship with God by grace, but it cost him his life. Our dreams likely won't cost us our lives, but our dreams may cost us something. If you want a better family life, it's going to cost you something, right? If you want better friends, it's going to cost you something. If you want to confront the injustices of this world, it's going to cost you something. We need friends to help us. Matthew 4:20, they left their nets at once and followed Jesus. A little bit of help, a little bit of camaraderie, a little bit of coaching, an invitation to say, hey, let's go after your dreams together. Let's go. It could be a lot of fun. What happened with Peter? Jesus unlocked the dreams in Peter, and Peter became the leader of the Jewish church. The Jefe. He became the guy. He became the fisher of men. People were drawn to Peter. After the resurrection and ascension of Jesus, people were drawn to Peter and followed Peter as he pointed them to Christ. If you come from a Catholic background, you know that their tradition is that he was the first pope, honored by God, the first leader of the Jewish church. But not only that, and I would even say more than that, Peter's thought was that Jesus came to save the Jews because everybody believed their particular race and ethnicity was the best and that their God was the best. But God had to continue to work in Peter's life. The Spirit of Christ had to continue to mold Peter, and Peter unlocked the gospel, the good news of God's grace to people who were not Jewish, which is why we are here today, because Peter kept growing. Peter's dream kept expanding. He thought, I'm going to be the fisher of men for the Jewish people. He thought, I'm going to lead Jewish people. And God says, no, I've got a bigger dream for you. Acts 10, verse 28, Peter told the gathering of Gentiles, non-Jews, he says, you know it's against our laws for a Jewish man to enter a Gentile home like this or to be associated with you. He's talking to a Gentile. He's talking to a Roman. And Peter says, you know it's against my religion to be here with you? Read the Old Testament. I'm not supposed to be in your house. Some rough stuff in there. But God is telling me something different. God has shown me that I no longer should think of anyone as impure or unclean. It is Peter who broke through the Christian faith to all of us who are not Jewish. That's how much this simple average fisherman, how much his dreams were achieved because he got a little bit of help from Jesus. All right, maybe a lot of bit of help from Jesus, but he walked the journey forward. I'm gonna keep stretching. If I fail, it's only gonna be a learning lesson, and I'm gonna get back up. I'm gonna keep dreaming. I'm gonna keep putting one foot in front of the other, and we're going after it. It's Black History Month, and a lot of this has to do with the civil rights leaders in the 1960s, right? Who were pushing through norms in the United States of America. In his famous I Have a Dream speech in August 28th, 1963, he says, I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. He was living in that hollow discontent. This country is not fulfilling its promise at its founding, and he's confronting it. And he's got this dream, not just for him, not just for his family, not just for his community, but the entire nation and ultimately the entire world being treated equally and more free. And he had people alongside of him, Martin Luther King did, fueled by his faith, by the Spirit of Christ, unlocking and unleashing a movement of civil rights that is still ongoing today. And so for us, ask the people you love, what are your dreams? Ask the people you love, what are your dreams? The way Jesus came alongside Peter, what are your dreams? Fishers of men, leaders of men, I'm gonna walk alongside you and we're going after this together. With all the bumps in the road, all the ups and downs, we're walking this together. Ask the people you love, what are your dreams? What are your dreams for your family? What are your dreams for your career? What are your dreams for hobbies or skills or art or whatever it is, starting a business, whatever it is? What are your dreams? What are your dreams for your impact in the community and our nation potentially? What do you dream about? Ask your good friends, what are your dreams? Now, I had to think through this, okay, with my buddies. Am I gonna ask, what are your dreams? I'm not gonna use those words. But what I have asked them is, what do you wanna do in life? Where's this whole thing going? You know, with your family and your career, to ask your buddies, guys, what do you wanna do? What do you wanna accomplish? What do you wanna achieve in your life, your family, your business, your influence? That conversation gets going quick and it's fun. And to say, all right, I'll be right by you. If there's something I run across, if there's a relationship, oh, you gotta meet my friend. My friend wants to start this business. You guys gotta meet. Sending articles, right? How can we help, right? So this is what it means to achieve our dreams and fulfill our dreams together. Ask your good friends, what do you want in life? What do you wanna do? What do you wanna accomplish? I've got two good friends of mine that just graduated college, and they are just about as old as me. That's awesome. I'm in college. I'm getting another degree in 16 months. It's like, I'm way too old for this nonsense. A few of us are starting businesses, not me. A few of my friends are starting businesses. Another is turning family property into a cattle ranch. Another is trying to win athletic tournaments. I mean, they're just going after it, and they're my age, like middle age. The crest is that way. But we're still going this way. Still trying to dream, still trying to go after things. Ask your spouse, what are your dreams? For those of you who are married or who may become married, ask your spouse, what are your dreams? As I mentioned last week, I've been married to Jenny for 3 decades. We had a date afternoon on Friday. We went to go see the Farmers Open golf tournament, and then we hit all of our favorite spots in San Diego, you know, Torrey Pines and our favorite restaurant, Jake's Del Mar, and we just had a wonderful time together down there, but I knew this sermon was coming. So we're watching Brooks Koepka. Welcome back, Brooks. And asked her, well, what are your dreams? We've been married a long time. A lot of good conversations. Is there any dream within you that I don't yet know about? And she paused. And I said, I hope that involves me in the story. Another pause. She says, yeah, I think you're good. But just started thinking, and she didn't have a lot of answers, but some good conversation. What is buried that needs to come to the surface, even in our marriage? I reframed the question, this is a total middle-aged thing, so sorry. But I reframed the question, what's on your bucket list that I don't know about? What are some things you just really want to experience that I don't yet know about? Just good conversations and walking with each other in that. When I went back to school, I had to have this conversation with my wife. Like, I'm going into this program and it's gonna be a gnarly, gnarly thing, and I'm way too old to be doing this, but I really wanna do it. I totally support you. And that took some sacrifice. I am not with the family on Saturdays. It took some sacrifice, and 16 months from now, we're gonna have some fun. Ask your kids, this is where we'll close. For those of you who have kids or will have kids, ask your children and then your grandchildren, what are your dreams? That's a tough one, parents and parents-to-be, because what parents think about the most is the dreams that I have for my kids, and that's good. I've got dreams for my kids. It might involve, their friends and future relationships. It might involve their school and certain grades. It might involve certain pathways and certain advanced education. We have dreams for our kids, and those are fine. But as Elaine said earlier, at some point we've got to stop or slow down the dreams that we have for our kids and start getting on board with the dreams that they have for themselves. and those paths rarely are the same. I'm gonna tell you one story. It just came to me last service, and I actually got kind of choked up. I'll try to not do that now. I know a dad. He's the most athlete human being you'd ever meet in your life. Excelled in athletics. He's the most bro sports. He had dreams for his son. His son, very young, chose dance. Dance is awesome. Dance could be considered a sport. That was not the dream Dad had for his boy. And that dad is the most awesome dance dad in town. It's like he got on board with his son's dream and they're loving life. And that is so many parents who walk this very difficult journey. Like, that's not what I planned, not my dream for my kid, but look at their dream. It's gonna take a breath. But let's go after your dream, and I'm right here to help you out. That is life. That's what Jesus did for Peter. It's what we can do for our friends, what we can do for our family, and what people can do for us. And like, watch out. Watch what can happen if we all start dreaming again and help each other fulfill those dreams. Let's pray. God, we thank you for our time together and the fact that you still today come alongside of us. And you ask us the same thing that Jesus asked Peter. What do you really want to do? I will make you fishers of men. Follow me. I may make you leaders. We may unlock a new skill. We may unlock a business. We may unlock a stronger family. Keep dreaming. And Jesus says, you say to us by your Spirit, I will help you fulfill and achieve the dream. And God, thank you that you give us people to walk alongside of us as friends and family to help as well. We love you in Jesus' name. Amen. We're going to close in a song. Evan brought us this song. His fault. It's a great song to close this thing out.
Yeah.
Because as we said earlier, right, dreams require hope.
Yeah.
And this song's all about hope.
Yeah, and that's, it's like my big thing.
That's your thing.
But I love the fact that this song talks about this hope and the hope in all things. As long as he is living, as long as Jesus is alive, we have hope. In the morning, in the evening, in the breaking, in the sorrow, we have this hope because our God is alive.
So here's what we're going to do. We're going to sing this song. And I mean, we're going to sing this song. I know some of you are like this during the song. It's all good. You appreciate it. But somebody said to me just a couple of days ago, I'm trying to get my family to come to Rancho, and they said they've got the best music, but they are way too nice. I don't want to go to that church. Best music, so credit to all you who had a dream of becoming musicians, and they are like the best musicians walk the face of the earth. Yay. But the church is way too nice, and I thought that's our dream, is to become the nicest church, right? Just the most generous and kind and serving church. All of this stuff happens because there's hope that a dream can actually happen. So let's all stand together and just sing this from your heart, that there is hope.
Days may be darkest, but your light is greater. You light our way, God, you light our way. When evil is rising, you're rising higher, with power to save, with power to save. You keep hope alive. You keep hope alive, from the beginning to end. Your word never fails. You keep hope alive, because you are alive. Jesus, you are alive. Death had a stronghold, but your life is stronger. Rose from the grave, rose up